Hi, everyone. I know this is on everyone's mind, isn't it?
What is
Crypto.
crypto?
Yeah.
Bitcoin. What the hell is it?
Yeah. Big question.
And why does it keep moving up and down?
And where's it going?
We're going to let you know about all of that and more right after this. Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining us on the Real Estate Investor Show, Hard Money for Real Estate Investors. We are Carolina Capital Management. We are lenders in the Southeast for real estate investors. If you are interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com and click on the Apply Now tab. If you're a passive investor interested in passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and sign up with Wednesdays with Wendy. Wendy donates 30 minutes per person on Wednesdays to talk about anything real estate. Get on her calendar on our little chat side there on the right-hand side or underneath, depending on the platform you're viewing us from. You can get on her calendar. She's usually booked out a couple of months in advance. It's well worth it, and it's free.
Absolutely. Yeah. Did we say it's free?
It's free.
Free, 30 plus years of real estate experience. It's worth it for sure.
Well, thank you. I think it is,
Yes.
but I got to tell you, I get a lot more out of it than I give. It's amazing.
Just
The
so
people
you know,
that sign up for it.
she started when she was 12.
Yes, that's right.
It's 30 years worth
That's
of
right.
experience.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, excited about what the topic we have today.
I know.
Yeah.
I am too. I am too. And you tripped on that crypto stuff for a little while, but our guest also has a strong background in real estate, the self-storage and mobile home communities, and both are which are very unusual for most investors. And
Because most investors we know are in real estate, and they have a fear, and most fears are from
unknown.
not knowing.
Mhm.
So I think it's a great segment to have Zach come on here and from the real estate side and how he got over into the crypto, and we can talk
Absolutely.
about all of it. I think it's great.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, Zach is Zach Morrow. He's a seasoned real estate and cryptocurrency hedge fund manager. Is passionate about helping investors confidently invest in alternative assets like blockchain technology and cryptocurrency.
Mhm.
He's also a Marine veteran.
Yay.
5 years
Thank you,
active
thank
duty.
you.
Thank you for your service.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And he is the VP of Investor Relations with Boron Capital's family of investment funds. Welcome to the show, Zach.
Hey, Bill, Wendy, John, so glad to be here. And, Wendy, I actually started when I was 12 as well. So me and you have that in common.
It's hard to be such a smart little kid, isn't it?
Well,
so difficult.
All of us in the real estate space understand that building wealth over time is creating passive returns through assets, accumulating assets.
Mhm.
And you can do that with real estate, and you can do that with crypto. And everybody's scared to death. Well, I don't say everybody. There's a lot of people,
I'm one.
old farts like us, that are afraid of crypto, mainly because most of us don't understand.
We're still trying to figure out how to get our
Yeah.
email
So,
addresses right.
Kind of give us an overview, if you would.
Yeah. So just kind of overall disclaimer, we still very much love real estate.
Absolutely.
And, we're 100% in alignment with you, Bill, on the fact that wealth is about asset accumulation and then allowing those assets to continue to work for you. And when we go back, we started 15 years ago. I didn't start the company. I joined it later. But our owner and CEO, Blake Templeton, started back in 2006 in real estate. And over the next few years, started how a lot of us started in real estate, which was in single family homes. And it was about compounding wealth, compounding cash, and then allowing that growth to then allow him to move into more assets. And so, really over the last 15, 16 years as a firm, we continue to ask the question, where can we gain quality assets that we believe we can reliably count on to produce a return for us over the coming years? And so I will tell you that we were not on the crypto train a few years back, right? Like many of you guys, and for a variety of reasons. And the number one would be that the infrastructure was not quite there. And for us, we have to be good stewards, because as fund managers, we have to ask the question, where can we protect and preserve people's wealth, but then also be able to provide them the growth that they want? And we didn't feel years back that these markets had the opportunity to do that at the time, right? And we weren't alone in that conviction, right? Ray Dalio, the largest hedge fund manager, pretty much in the world, said the same thing back in 2017. He said, it's a bubble. It's surely going to pop. In 2021, Ray agrees. He says, I'd rather own Bitcoin than a bond. And, so you can see the shift happening. The curiosity is continuing to grow. People are asking the question, like they see, a lot of action happening here. But when I say action, there's also a lot of volatility, which scares people. Is it going to last? Is it a speculative gamble? Is it a bubble? What really is happening here? And I think that for most people, like you said, it's just a lack of understanding. And so, I sat down with a gentleman. You talked about old farts. I sat down with a gentleman, 78 years old, and he's sharp as a whip. This guy is continuing to invest and build businesses. We were having lunch a couple of weeks ago, and we were sitting down, and he knows we're in crypto, and he continuously tells me, he's got an office close by us, and every time he sees me, Zach, I'm not quite there yet, and I'm like, okay, everybody's got to come in their own time. And whenever you were introducing me, you said investing confidently. Everybody has to invest with confidence. Don't get into anything before you understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and your conviction behind us, right? Because then you'll be led to be driven by emotion. And we really want to be driven by data. But going back to that lunch, we sat down, and finally he just goes, can you just walk me through it? And I'm like, well, let's walk through it a little bit, and I'll walk you guys through it as well. And what we talked through was that blockchain technology, and Bill, this is something you shared, we agree with blockchain technology, we just don't get crypto. And really, crypto is an extension of the technology. And when we look at the space as a whole, we're looking at a technological space that's coming in and creating a safe, reliable, verifiable means of communication that undergirds really the internet and provides a digital age and digital network to be able to create that verifiable trust and exchange. And so inside this market, when people ask me, well, what is it? A lot of people think it's a currency that's trying to replace the dollar. And I would tell you that, while some people think, nobody's going to replace the dollar, and I'm in that camp, I don't think that these things are trying to replace the dollar. And that's the number one thing that I think to realize. It's not just a bunch of currency. It's just been labeled that. Really, you have Bitcoin that's a financial instrument, and I believe that the rest of them really are more like assets. And when I say asset, I mean you really have a business use. And then, of course, there's a whole portion of it that's just complete baloney. So that's to be known, right? So a lot of it's not going to work out, but you've got some really strong use cases out there, and getting clear on the use cases of how the world progresses digitally. And now I feel like I'm rambling, so I'll let you rein me in and get more specific. But getting clear on the use cases is step one. Getting clear on the team, like with any investment, getting clear on the network, right? Because when we think about the internet created an abundance of different industries, and it allowed already existing industries to advance. And that's really how we look at blockchain technology, is it's really creating an infrastructure under which a digital world can operate. And then there's going to be a lot of different use cases with a lot of different companies, assets that then operate inside that space to allow industries to advance, and then allow industries that already exist to continue to grow.
Yeah.
How does your fund invest in crypto? Can you? I know you can't really get into a whole lot of detail, but
Not looking for the secret sauce, just the
so how do you do that? Yeah, the secret sauce wouldn't hurt.
Right. So just so that I can be most helpful, is the question, how would one purchase an asset? Or are you more interested in, are you talking about strategy?
Yes.
Both. Yes to all of it. Okay.
So if you're investing in a particular coin, for example, you're talking about really an asset that you don't really know what the value is. Okay. When you're investing in the technology, that allows businesses to function, it's a little bit different. So
what does your fund do?
Or is it? Because I think, to build on that, like there's a lot of people, including myself, there's a lot of speculation based off of the asset, coin or whatever it is, the value. And then, that's why I don't invest in much in the real estate or not the real estate market, but the,
Crypto.
Not crypto.
Blockchain.
Stock market. Yeah, stock market. Wow, y'all are just going. That's why I don't invest in the stock market very much, is because there's a lot of, speculation from my perspective. And there can be. So I think, how would you talk to somebody that says, hey, I see what you're doing, but I just feel like, how do you quantify an asset's value? Is it really speculation, or what's the methodology to quantify that?
Yeah. And so, it's a great question. And what I would tell you is, when we're processing even a piece of real estate, what's the questions you're asking? Do I believe that this property is going to retain and hopefully appreciate in value over time? I'm looking at its appreciation value. Do I have a good utility or a good use case where I believe that this will predictably continue to drive a need in the market as markets are growing and changing in this current economic season? And then if I'm investing with someone else, I'm going to ask, do I believe that this team has the ability to operate with inside this asset class or to grow this business, right? Because self-storage, we talked about mobile home communities, both areas where we invest, there's a management and a business component to that. So I've got to have a good team. And then I also got to ask about the rate of adoption, right? So this is a new technology. So that's one of the differences, right? Self-storage, we have an idea of how it's growing. We have an idea of a historical track record where what are the use cases, how it's growing, what the adoption rate looks like, what the supply and demand looks like. We're asking those same questions when we're looking at individual projects, because in reality, these are projects. Okay. Bitcoin itself is a decentralized ledger. So there's not one organizing body over it, but everything else inside that space is really created with an organized body. And that body or business has a specific use case it's looking to bring to the market. And then it has a team developing and growing it. And then there's a network that then is adopting and using it, right? So just like with Facebook, one of the greatest values with Facebook is in its network effect, the fact that it has billions of daily users.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about when we talk about network and adoption. So how many daily users are inside of it? How many transactions are taking place within inside this blockchain on a daily basis? Who are the people behind it? What are they trying to accomplish? And do we believe that they're going to be able to accomplish this over a period of time? And from the current price, what value do we believe is out there? So there's always a difference between fundamentals and technicals. So what we're discussing right now is the fundamentals of that actual asset in particular. So those are what we're evaluating on a fundamental level. And then you also have to evaluate fundamentals on an economic level, right? What's happening globally right now? What's happening politically? What's happening with decisions with money printing? What is the Federal Reserve doing? Where do we believe the movements are going to go over a period of time? And how is that going to impact what's happening here? And then we have, again, technical, which more comes to the price side. So we all know that there's a difference between price and value, right? Value is the actual use and the actual tangible utility. And then price is what it's trading for on a given day. So we're trying to create what you'd call alpha, is finding good projects that we believe have an ability to appreciate over time, that have strong transactions and use case that we believe will be utilizable and continue to have broader adoption and already have good traction. And then, of course, like anything, if we feel the variables have changed, we make adjustments. And so that's really why, if you go back 15 years within real estate, we're always asking the question of what's been good and what do we believe will be good. And so we've been in single family. We then worked in commercial. And commercial, we've had times where we were more focused on cash flow, and we had more specialty assets like corporate housing or wedding venues. And then we've also done apartments where we believe it has a strong staying power and then has an appreciable ability to appreciate over time. And then now our focus for assets would be self-storage and mobile home communities on the real estate side, because we believe they have the ability to sustain in a market that has a lot of uncertainty. And so we're factoring all those things in, not just on our real estate portfolio, but on this side as well. And so when you zoom way out, we ask very similar questions on the crypto side that we do on the real estate side.
Mm-hmm.
So all that kind of really cleared it up in a big way for me to look at it from a different angle that I've been looking at it. But my only concern is, in real estate, you've got history to go by.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a whole lot of history in crypto or blockchain or any of that. You just don't have, you don't have a lot of time that you can go back and evaluate where it's going and what it's doing. So how do you hedge against that?
Yeah. So when we're processing history is great to learn from, and it's great to help assess what could be where we're going. But at the same time, we also have the information that is today. And then when we're looking into the future, plain and simple, everything into the future is a speculation that has variables outside of everyone's control, right? We all love real estate because we believe it's real property. They're not making any more of it, and people are always going to need it.
Right.
Okay. That's why we love real estate, right? We're on the same page with that, right?
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Yeah. So then that's our historical anchor. And as an investor, as a firm, we're processing this as a total portfolio. Mm-hmm. So we have to anchor our portfolio with a level of that historical certainty. And then on the other side, we're looking at what is transitioning in the market, how will it transition, and to what level do we want to participate? And so by no means am I telling people to leave real estate and go into crypto, because I still love real estate and we are expanding in real estate.
And diversity is good.
Mm-hmm. And then whenever I process new markets, the crypto market actually allows opportunity at tangible asset, even though it's digital. It is a real life verifiable thing that you have the thing, right? It's not just a number on a ledger. You actually own a piece of that block, right? And that is verifiable. So I'm able to actually hold property. If I wanted to, I could take that offline and nobody could touch it, right?
Yeah.
But then I have to look at the appreciation value and potential. And then I ask myself, okay, what portion of capital, time, resource, energy do we want to put into this newer technology? So we've spent the last few years diving in, and after the research, we came to the point of believing that this will be something that is here to stay. And if it is here to stay, to what level am I interested in participating? And then with that participation, I'm going to continue to learn and grow. And then my allocation will adjust accordingly. And so that's going to be different for each individual investor. But, Elon Musk basically came out and, Tesla, SpaceX, and Elon personally all moved billions of dollars into crypto, over the last couple of years. And he basically came out and he said, I reached a point where I realized I could either watch it happen or I could participate. And
you mean I could watch it happen or force it to happen?
Yeah, control it.
well, that's a whole nother topic of Elon's Twitter, right? It's definitely entertainment on that. But But yeah, with any new technology, the only way something really takes is that people need it and people continue to use it, right? Same thing with Facebook, right? Same thing with Amazon. Amazon started with books. The internet started with email, right? And people are like, well, I'm already writing letters. It's not any more efficient. I don't know how to do this. Well, eventually, the internet wasn't just email. It was so much more, right? And that's really where we're at, is we're at a place where we know that just on an individual coin, millions of transactions are already taking place on a daily basis. This isn't like we hope it'll happen in the future. It's already happening.
Right.
So that it's actually the fastest adopted technology in history, and we're only going more digital. And the blockchain technology, figuring out where and how you want to invest is different than figuring out whether or not you should invest. And
Gotcha.
We've arrived at the place where we absolutely determined we should invest, and then we spent the time on where to invest. And that's really where we spend our time as a team, is determining where to invest now, because we've already fully committed to the fact that we believe you should invest.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
There's a question there too.
Oh, let's see. Sharon asked, she said, what about NFTs? It seems ludicrous.
Okay. So we always, with inside of everything, I'll tell you, I thought Beanie Babies were absolutely ludicrous too. And I'm not advocating for Beanie Babies or NFTs right now. So what people are doing in any given time, there's a lot of ludicrous things that happen. And just because there are ludicrous things that happen doesn't mean that the technology as a whole is ludicrous. Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of a non-fungible token, I believe firmly, will be something that is regularly utilized, but I'm not talking about an image of a monkey or a cartoon. I'm talking about the technology of non-fungible token. So where people want to go and buy art, that they own the art and they want to own a moment in time and things like that, it's kind of like the idea of, like, if I had Michael Jordan's rookie card, is that one going to hold value? But you might have held somebody else's rookie card that then disappeared. That's a lot more speculative to me than investing in good fundamentals. So, if you want to speculate there, that's a different type of investor. And that's not where we focus as a fund. We're really looking for better fundamentals rather than, quick flips. So.
Yeah, the blockchain technology is from our perspective, the most interesting thing. And I know everyone wants to focus on the cryptocurrency side because it's very polarizing. But, I think we can all agree that our federal wire system and how we transfer and move money through the Fed system is severely antiquated. There has to be a better way to do that. So Are you saying, like, I know this blockchain technology can be used for that. You said earlier that you don't think that cryptocurrency is a replacement for the dollar. You think that it's going to be something that can advance the dollar into the crypto space, I suppose? Or how do you see that?
So if we want to talk about currency, it's going to be different than the markets as a whole. So I'll kind of answer two different pieces here, because I feel like there's probably two different questions.
Answer. I'm a layman here, so you're the.
We don't even know the right language.
That's okay. And blockchain technology allows for a verifiable ledger to take place without any third-party control. Okay. So just for reference, if we looked at Bitcoin could do what the banking system does. You just don't have a centralized system that's controlling it. But it is 100% verifiable, and it verifies against itself. I'm not saying it will replace the system, because I don't think it will. There are people out there that would say they prefer it. I'm just not presently in that space at the moment. But I do really like Bitcoin. But then on the same time, there's technologies, like for us that are in the real estate world, who's ever had issues with title work? I mean, it can be a cumbersome deal of going back and seeing who transferred it when, and then it's all paper trail.
Right.
With inside blockchain, that paper trail can happen and be verified on a block that continuously updates itself. So ownership could always be known instantaneously. Transfers of title could take place securely without any needs for, that wait time or that lookup time, and it would be verified right there and then, and title work could be transferred right away. So there's a use case right there of how it works. Now, when we're talking about it versus the dollar, well, that's when somebody's building a cryptocurrency. The currency is really the way in which the blockchain works with itself. And so when you're investing in, like, say, Ethereum runs what's called smart contracts. So it's a contract system. And then it's what's called layer one, meaning it's like a baseline. So then people will build on top of it. So like Apple has a phone that has an iOS system, and then people build all their apps on top of it.
Right.
Well, the iOS system doesn't build, we use an app, for communication, called Slack. Well, Slack is an app on iOS, but it's not iOS. So Ethereum has its own use case, but then there's a lot of things being built on top of it. But inside the transactions, there's coins that exchange, and as it grows, if you're a holder of those coins, you can gain appreciation. There's also things you can do, like for all of us that love cash flow, you can actually utilize it very similar to real estate. Like, I own the property, it has an appreciable value, and then I can actually do things like stake it or lend it to then create more. I still own the thing, but then I can create more passive income off of it. So for all of our passive income investors, that's an option. And these things aren't revolutionary in the way they operate. That's similar to like what a bank does or what you guys do with your fund, right? Mm-hmm. So competing with the dollar, I don't think that that's actually what the vast majority of these things are trying to do. I really don't think any of them are. Bitcoin itself, I mean, a potential function would be more like what gold has served in the past as an actual anchor. You could denominate in Bitcoin, but then the currency could still be dollars, or you could denominate in something else. But what the Federal Reserve does as far as its choices, there's already talks about a US dollar coin and things like that. Something that I'm not in support of, but I think that the use of the technology and the currency, as far as how it operates, is one that all governments and globally will continue to be utilized.
Very interesting. You've made it gel a lot more for me. I'm still not all there in my head, but you really have made it gel for me. Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't think the central banks are going to give up control anyway.
No, but
I 100% agree with you.
no, when you're in control, you don't want to give it up.
The power retains power.
Pull away, I think, for me, is whether or not you like cryptocurrency or even blockchain technology, there is a way to invest smartly, because just like you said, as you build users, I mean, the value is built off of the number of users that are coming in. So if you can get in at the right time, do your underwriting as you all do so well, get in at the right time, have that appreciation come with the users, and then you can get out. You can still utilize this as an asset class to invest in without even, who cares if you think cryptocurrency is the future. It's a way to help you build wealth through diversification.
So that particular fund that you have that deals with the crypto, is that a fund for accredited investors? How's that set up?
Yes. So as a private fund, I'm sure for those of you not familiar, we have registration under Regulation D, 506C, which means that it is open to accredited investors. That's correct.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you, what's your minimum on it? Minimum investment?
$250,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I can't let you get out of here without at least talking real estate.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear about that.
What are you guys focused in on? I know you said self-storage and mobile home parks. What areas of the country are you looking at, and what size facilities?
Yeah, great question. So when we're kind of looking nationwide, it's not so much that we're singled in on a specific area. We're really looking for value, which I think everybody's doing right now, is where can we find that long-term value? I will tell you, we're really focused on already operational, and then our value add is really more about management and economy of scale. And so, I'll just to give you an example, the last three properties we invested into, One is a 35.5 acre, 210 unit mobile home community just north of DC, right on the water in Dundalk, Maryland. Another property we invested into is in Alexandria, Virginia, which is just south of DC, right there close to Washington, Reagan, if you're from the area. I lived over there for about 5 years. And that one right there is about 950 units. And then we just invested into a property a little north of Houston. And that one's a little over 600 units. So, we're really looking, our focus inside these assets is really long-term. So we're not coming in just from a value add to look to sell. We're really looking more of a ability to come in, cash flow, help really take advantage of the tax benefits, and then bring value add through the management. And then we come in relatively low leverage, seek to refinance and allow investors to kind of, pull their capital back out and retain ownership. And then we seek to operate that together over time and continue to kind of rinse and repeat that model.
Sounds to me like the two up north are possibly in resort communities. Does that sound right? Since they're on the water?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a resort community. I think
I've seen some really nice high-end mobile home parks in Florida that would.
Yeah, well, yes, that's different. We do like Florida, and Bill, kind of to your question, I'll tell you, for me, for the most part, I tell you, Texas kind of running along the Sun Belt out to the East Coast, kind of the southern U.S. there, and then kind of up towards the D.C. area has been a more centralized focus, but we're not just looking there. As far as, the mobile home communities, we really are focused on really strong blue collar, middle America, and looking for nice communities. But I wouldn't personally call them resort, but I think they're really nice,
Yeah.
For sure.
I tell you, I am shocked that they have that large of a community in Maryland and Alexandria, with the value of the land being that high in those areas, that somebody hasn't gone in there and just redeveloped those properties into something else.
Well, and just to be clear, maybe it's important to note the Maryland property, the 210 units, that's mobile home community. The Alexandria property is self-storage.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah. and the Houston property self-storage as well.
Okay.
Gotcha. Nice.
And before we do let you go, we had a question from Connor. He's asking if there's any books or podcasts that you would suggest for beginners, and he's talking about
The crypto
and blockchain.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple good ones. Depends on, I would say, your level of interest. If you're really just kind of starting to learn, we actually have a channel. We go live every Thursday. I'll be going live actually with our partners every Thursday at 5:30 Eastern. And
Awesome.
we do that on our channel, and that's the Boron Capital YouTube channel. That's a great place to get started. And then we provide additional content there. As far as books, the Bitcoin Standard is a great one. Also, I've had the pleasure of getting to know a couple great authors and people inside this space. Robert Breedlove, Jimmy Song, they wrote a book with a couple other people called Thank God for Bitcoin. It's a very interesting read that really tracks back. And I'll tell you, as a man of faith myself, this is one that really spoke to me. It really talks about the morality of money, and it actually really dissects our monetary system in a great way, but it's also a very easy read. So I think it's about 150, 200 pages. You'll get a lot of great history about how money operates, how our system operates, and how they see Bitcoin fitting into that. So
Awesome.
Those
So
are great places to start.
So thank God for Bitcoin and
Yes.
the Bitcoin Standard.
That's correct.
Awesome. And then what is your Thursday podcast? What is that again? The
Yeah, so
Boron
that's
Capital?
We do that on our YouTube channel, which is the Boron Capital, Boron Capital. And then you can just find us right there and connect with us. And we do that show every Thursday at 5:30 Eastern.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. This was great. And I have to tell you, we've had more people live on this show than we've ever had on any show live.
Well, I hope it was because they enjoyed it.
I'm sure it was. I really think the topic is so everybody wants to understand it, and
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to understand. It
Yeah.
really is hard to understand, and I think you did a great job explaining that for sure. I'm going to have to get you on my faith-based investor group that I do every Friday morning called Sunrisers. I'll reach out to you
yes.
about that.
That's wonderful.
It's awesome.
Zach, thank you so much for joining us.
Good stuff.
We will again reach out later. We do have some other stuff we'd like to discuss with you as well. Folks, thank you so much for joining us again on the Real Estate Investor Show, Hard Money for Real Estate Investors. We are Carolina Capital Management. We're lenders in the Southeast for real estate investors. If you are interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com and click on the Apply Now tab. If you're interested in passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. If you are
crazy, sign up for Wednesdays with Wendy.
Yeah. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. And again, Wednesdays with Wendy.
That's right.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you next week. Take care.